Blackout poetry. It's this really cool way to take a piece of text and use a black Sharpie and mark out all of the words except for a few. And the few words that you've left leave a message. Kind of looks like this. It's something that I was introduced to when reading Show Your Work and Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. And I started seeing the possibilities for Blackout poetry to help students summarize what they've read, to help them analyze it kind of on a different level, or maybe just to create something cool, you know, to be able to create an experience in the classroom. So in today's video, I want to show you how you can use Google Drawings to create really cool Blackout poetry using a piece of text that you find online. Now, if Austin Kleon, the author of the book Show Your Work and Steal Like an Artist, if he saw this video and saw that we were doing Blackout poetry with Google Drawings, he might cringe. So to balance things out a little bit, we're gonna make an old-fashioned Blackout poetry using a piece of this textbook. I'm actually gonna tear a page out of this textbook and make Blackout poetry for it. I'm Matt Miller from Ditch That Textbook. Let's get started. So I really think that Blackout poetry has a lot of potential in the classroom. It's a really good way to help students look at text in more detail, to really have them pay attention to every single word and every single sentence that the author chose. It's also a really good way to help break their thinking open and help them to see things in a little bit more creative way, to kind of get their creative juices flowing. And to create a Blackout poetry using Google Drawings, it's really pretty simple. And so all we have to do is we start in Google Drive, where we go to New and we just open up a brand new Google Drawing, which you can also do by going to drawings.google.com. So Google Drawings is the starting point for the Blackout poetry, at least when you're doing it this way. And to start off, you need to have a piece of text. To get this piece of text, you can either take a picture of a regular, page of text out of a book or whatever, or you can also take a screenshot of some text on the web. Now, so really all you've got to do is just navigate to a page that has some text, kind of like this one. And then you find the selection of text that you want, you take a screenshot of it. Now, depending on your device, there's a variety of different ways to take a screenshot. One way that I've used to figure that out is just to go to take-a-screenshot.org, which is this website that you can use that shows all of the keyboard shortcuts to take a screenshot on a variety of different devices. So if you're not sure how to do it, that's a good place to go. And so what you want to do is take that screenshot and then paste it into the Google Drawing. Now, from there, you can use the crop tool to make sure that it's exactly the right size. Or you can use the little corner tab here on the bottom right-hand corner of your Google Drawing to resize your Google Drawing so that it fits the size of your screenshot. So once you've got your screenshot in place, now's the time for the creative magic to begin. So this is where you or the students, whoever's doing the Blackout poetry, start to analyze the text. He says that he basically looks for articles that have interesting words in them. And then once he cuts that article out, he starts to kind of look and figure out what the words are that he thinks he might want to use. And so, it's almost like trying to find interesting words and then kind of like letting them speak to you. Almost as if you're just trying to kind of let those words sink into your brain and figure out what message they could send. So once you've found the words that you want to use in your Blackout poetry, as in you've found the words that you want to leave on the page, now it's time to start blacking out. And so for me, I've found that using lines and using the rectangle shapes in Google Drawings is a great way to do this because it makes it look like, basically like a Sharpie, like a black marker. And so what I'll do is I'll figure out where those particular words are, and I'll start to draw lines in around the words that I want to leave out. You can see in this case, I'm using really big, thick lines, or you can use, like I said earlier, you can use the rectangle shape out of the shapes and then just make them really narrow rectangles. So I continue to draw these lines around all of the words that I want to keep. And so there, I've basically highlighted all of those words that I want to keep. In this case, it's going to say reach thousands of pretty magical lessons. I thought I wanted to say something about how I felt about collaborating with other teachers on Twitter and the impact that it's had on my career. So once you've done that, once you've put those lines around the words that you want to keep, now it's time to black everything else out. So again, more black lines or more little rectangles. Now I'm leaving a little bit of space over here on the right for a reason. So I continue to black everything out until the whole thing is done, except for that little space. But I kept that there for a reason. And actually, when I drew this in for the first time, I had lines all the way across. But I decided I wanted to add an extra little visual touch to this. So I found a little Twitter icon and stuck it in there. And so basically all I did there was I took these black lines and I just shortened them. See how you can make them longer and shorter. And so I just shortened them so that they would be right around the little Twitter bird. And so now, what have I got? I've got this Blackout poetry that says, reach thousands of pretty magical lessons. And it's got the Twitter bird on it too. So think about the potential of this in your classroom. If you've got students studying a piece of text, this again does help them to look at it with a fresh set of eyes, helps them to look at it in a more detailed way, and also helps them to create something new. You know, the idea of remixing, of taking something that exists and making something new out of it. So again, to summarize those steps of how we just did that, the first thing you want to do is open up a blank Google Drawing. Then you want to go find a piece of text and get an image of that text into your Google Drawing. If that means taking a screenshot or if it means taking a picture of a piece of text, like out of a book. Then you start to look for the words that you want to include in your Blackout poetry and maybe even draw little boxes around them so that you can see them. Then you want to use the line tool or the rectangle shape tool to create those black lines so that it looks like you're blocking off everything that you don't want to use with a black marker. And then in my case, I took a little piece of art and stuck it in there, which of course is optional. So it's really just as easy as that to create a Blackout poetry image using Google Drawings. But using Google Drawings isn't the only way. Now, of course, using something like Google Drawings to do this Blackout poetry is all well and good. But like I said earlier, I think that Austin Kleon, who I learned all of this from through his books, I think he might cringe a little bit if he knew that we were doing Google Drawings, because he's a big proponent of doing things hands-on, of creating things with your own hands. And so we're going to take the second route to this, which is to use an actual piece of text out of a textbook to create Blackout poetry. Now, am I suggesting that you tear pages out of a textbook to do Blackout poetry? I don't know, that's up to you, you know? If you've got extra textbooks laying around, maybe if these are the ones that your school has adopted that you have to continue using, it might not be such a good idea. But because I've got this extra textbook here, I'm gonna take this page out of this textbook and I'm gonna create Blackout poetry using it. So, you ready for this? Here we go, here's the big moment. Is this killing you inside just a little bit? There we go, there's our page. So I'm gonna show you my process of how I'm gonna create Blackout poetry using this page. All right, so there you have it. Blackout poetry using Google Drawings and using a marker and some printed text. A couple of ways that you can do that. So I hope you found this video useful. If you have, make sure that you give the video a like. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for more videos just like this. And I will see you on the next video.